Well, a major shakeup at the White House as the administration names a new point person to handle its relations, or lack thereof, with Congress. Katie Byrne-Fallon will take over as Legislative Affairs Office Director in January. Her appointment coming amid a rocky year for the president over Obamacare, foreign affairs, you name it, as Republicans gear up for battle in November's midterm elections. Joining me now to talk about it, our political panel, Christy Setzer, president of New Heights Communication, former spokesperson for former Vermont Governor Howard Dean. Tammy Bruce joins us, radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. Good to see you both.
Hi there. Good to be here.
Tammy, is this a sign that the White House and the president both are finally realizing that he's losing Senate Democrats and this is a real crisis?
I think so. I think that just the dynamic that vulnerable Democrats are in, of course, with the election next year, have been very hurt by Obamacare. That's undeniable. The interesting thing is, I think this is a result also of Podesta going into the White House. The problem here, though, is that the new appointment is a woman who has great relationships just really with the Democrats. This clearly is meant to shore up that relationship. But Obama's between a rock and a hard place. They really need to be able to reject his agenda, and yet she seems to be coming in also in part to kind of help them, I guess, embrace the climate change amnesty agenda. And I think anything that's going to be moving major agendas again next year is going to only hurt people more. Obama effectively has to allow the Democrats to essentially reject him, and I don't think that that's what this woman's goal is going to be.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. Christy, the president does have to do something to turn around his abysmal numbers. We're going to put up on the screen right now these Fox News poll numbers. His job performance on specific issues are way underwater, all of them. Look at that. Economy and health care, his approvals at 37 and 36, his disapproval at 60 and 61 respectively, and the deficit, a scant 29% approve, 66% disapprove. How does he turn that around?
Yeah, well, I think you see this typically with second-term presidents. There is usually a decline in the approval numbers. I don't think this is anything near cataclysmic. But I do think that the hire of Katie is meant to strengthen the relationship between the White House and Democrats in Congress. Obviously, this is somebody who comes from Schumer world. She knows the White House very well as Congress. Seems to be that this is a response to calls from member of Congress who think that the White House doesn't get their hands dirty enough when it comes to implementing their own initiatives. So it seems like this is going to be a pretty strong hire for them.
Tammy, the White House, as you point out, also bringing in John Podesta, who, of course, guided Bill Clinton through some pretty tough times.
Sure.
Is he up to the task here of turning things around, or are they going to have to do a full-scale House?
Well, look, I think they're regretting right now that Obama wasn't very interested at all in creating relationships with Congress. He has not been involved in any kind of real governance, and I think that's really coming back to haunt them now.
That's not really true.
I don't think that being able to, for the next year, when they're all under some heat. Look, Congress themselves, the Senate Democrats themselves have lauded this because they have felt really out in the cold. Right now, what's going to have to happen, and this is the irony, is Obama's going to have to throw himself under the bus in order to be able to maintain control of the Senate, unless he does want to lose all of Congress in 2014, and that looks like where it's headed.
Christy, what about the point that Tammy is making here? This is a president who has been repeatedly accused of being either disinterested or aloof toward his own party on Capitol Hill, and is he now paying the price?
I mean, I don't know if he's now paying the price, but I know that he's now being responsive to it. And she is right when you think about the hires of not just John Podesta and now, Katie Byrne-Fallon, but also Phil Shaliro to come in briefly to sort of run the management of the Affordable Care Act implementation. Clearly, he seems to be listening to people who've said that he needs to, again, get his hands a little bit more dirty. But one thing I think that we're sort of glossing over here is that a much bigger dynamic that is changing is on the Republican side. We saw it this week with John Boehner knocking down the Tea Party after the budget deal. It also seems like even Paul Ryan and Eric Cantor are sort of done with the Tea Party. I think that might be a symbol that the people who actually want to govern are now taking center stage. The people who just want to obstruct may be getting in the back.
You know, Tammy, the fallout over Obamacare has been extreme, to say the least, and it may only get worse this next year. Senate Democrats up for re-election are in trouble in many of their home states over Obamacare, and, you know, Republicans need to gain 6 seats to take control. How would you handicap that?
Look, I mean, at this point, all the Republicans really need to do is just to not make any waves, is to, in a lot of ways, just step back. I think that the Obama White House understands this, and yet there seems to be a little bit of a panic here. I don't know if they, look, Podesta's only been hired really for a year, and he's there to push things like amnesty and climate change, which doesn't make a lot of sense when you look at the Fox News poll numbers, that the American people are double digits away from what Obama wants. So I think, as has been the case, they mishandled Obamacare. They're mishandling this, and what the Republicans need to do is make it clear what they stand for, and also frankly, not get in Obama's way.
Yeah, sit on your hands. Tammy Bruce, Christy Setzer, good to see you both. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Greg.
Good to be here.
All right.